shrines and descend to Angels 1-5.
Hello everybody, I'm Jonathan from Gamereactor, and I'm here with another Jonathan, the executive art director from Mankind Divided, the new Deus Ex game. Thank you for speaking with us. First of all, can you tell us where does this game fit in with the series at large, and where does it take us, the story, this time around?
Yeah, well, so the events of Mankind Divided, they take place 2 years after Human Revolution. So at the end of Human Revolution, for the people who have played the game, and if you haven't, spoilers, not too, whatever. There's like this big event, right, that happens. We call it the Pensha event at the end of Human Revolution, which is, all the Augs, all the augmented people kind of went crazy and they started killing each other, and they killed a whole bunch of non-augmented people as well. We say that there's about 50 million people who died that day. So obviously the world, woke up the next day after that and was like, wait a minute, something went really, really wrong. These technologies in the wrong hands or treated or brought into the wrong directions can be very, very dangerous. So this brings us to Mankind Divided 2 years later, and that's just the new state of the world that we live in. So now it's about fear, it's about paranoia, it's about segregation, it's about, if Human Revolution was all about the golden age and the enlightenment of the transhuman era. And now it's about, wait a minute, that we don't want the masses to have these things anymore. So it's not that they're obliterating augmentations or whatnot, but it's that they're keeping it for armies and for the elite and all that kind of stuff, and they're trying to make sure that the masses don't have them anymore. Obviously, a lot of people already have them. So what happens is, this is what we call the mechanical apartheid. It's like this big divide is being created, and they're putting these people in ghettos, or they need papers to walk around and all that kind of stuff. So that's the world that we live in now, as opposed to a bit of the opposite in the previous game, where it was all about, this is amazing, this is the next big step for humanity, and all that kind of narrative.
And to that, the Deus Ex universe, it seems to me, always have had a theme of conspiracy and the philosophical questions of what it is to be a human. What would you say the thematic focal point of this game is, contrary to the other games?
Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, these themes are still very much there, right? For example, Adam Jensen, the protagonist, was kind of like augmented against his own will in Human Revolution, and he's been kind of struggling with this ever since, right? Kind of the one of the main sentences, if you want, that we had for Human Revolution is, Adam used to say, "I never asked for this. I didn't ask for what happened to me," and he's kind of, like you said, kind of figuring out, what does it mean to be human? Is he still human, or is he just part human and whatnot? As far as he's concerned, in Mankind Divided, he's a lot more in control of himself, in control of his situation. He's accepting who he's become, and he understands that he's probably one of the best solutions, one of the best weapons to take the fight up to the Illuminati and all that. So anyway, all this to say that those themes of what's transhumanism and how does it affect humanity or us as human beings are still there. But one of the main theme now is really this divide between human beings, like how do these things go into becoming, and how do we deal with them, and how human beings can treat each other with either a real difference or a perceived or an imagined difference and whatnot. And sadly, these are things that would appear to be almost part of our DNA, sadly, right? It's like it's a pattern that's been repeating since the dawn of time, and it hasn't slowed down, right? I mean, we could bring up a whole bunch of situations that are happening right now, or that happened in the 20th century, and like I said, it definitely hasn't slowed down in the 21st. So again, if in Human Revolution the theme was all about really transhumanism as like this is the next big step for humanity, now it's exploring the divide between people and how people treat each other and stuff like that, again through the filter of transhumanism, of course, but
it's sort of the negative side or the dark side of it as well, right?
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like we always make sure that we kind of put the player in a gray zone in a Deus Ex game. It's like, we never say that you're on one side or another, or that one side is good and one side is wrong. It's kind of like we create the situation, we put you in there. Obviously, you're the protagonist, so you need to fix something. But people do things for a reason, right? It's just kind of like this concept of pure evil is a bit of a weird concept. Like why do people do the things that they do, right? There's usually a history behind that, right? Why do you do this? So those are the gray zones that we like, and we kind of throw the player in that, and it's kind of up to him to make up his mind,
Yeah, and watching the new trailer, it seems that you can really understand both sides of the
debate,
conflict here, or what you say. So, in terms of the narrative, is there? Do you choose sides, so to speak, or along the way?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. It kind of goes back to what I was just saying. So Adam now, he doesn't take orders. I mean, he does from Task Force 29, but he's a bit using Task Force 29. So he says, yes, sir, but he's serving himself. He says, yes, sir, for his own goal that he has at the end, which is he really wants to bring the fight to the Illuminati now. Like, he doesn't want to bring it to proxies. Now he wants to find where they are and just go there. And he believes that the Illuminati are probably pulling the strings behind Task Force 29. So you have to do missions for Task Force 29 because obviously you have to play, the role of, hey, I work for them, But also there's the other people that work on the other side. And amongst this whole, apartheid debate or segregation debate and whatnot, and you have to do stuff for them as well. And it's kind of a lot of those missions are on the main path, right? Like you have to do stuff for Task Force 29. You have to do stuff for the other guys and whatnot. Some of them it's kind of up to you, but it's there's no meter of there's no are you on the dark side or the light side or there's
because a lot of games they have a sort of a moral arbitrarity, but there are always these red and green choices, but not in this game in the same way.
No, it's really like I said, a lot of these things are part of the main story, and we try to really look at both sides through that main story thing because you have to do it. And then there's other peripheral stuff that you can kind of explore if you want to or not, but it's not, you don't gain points for once, you know what I mean? It's not like being part of a guild like I don't know, like in Skyrim or something, like it's very arbitrary. And again, it's always trying to leave a gray zone for, even though you've done those missions, it's still up to you to decide how you feel about it and not the game telling you that reverse thing. Yeah.
So moving on to the level design, in the previous games, you have always been able to take multiple approaches. How have you approached level design in this game? Anything different? You still have all the different possibilities.
Of course, I think level design is one of the main core aspects of a Deus Ex game, right? Like you can play with the looks of a Deus Ex game. You can play with all sorts of things that you can really switch around to a certain degree. But I think level design is really what makes the heart, that soul of a Deus Ex game. The fact that you have so many solutions to one problem, to one problem is going to have many different approaches. So the 4 gameplay pillars, right? Like combat, stealth, hacking, and social are back. Fully integrated in the level design, and also this time around we've added a lot of verticality. So there was a little bit of verticality in Human Revolution, but this time we really propped it up, and there's augmentations based on the fact that you probably need to go up and also go kind of like horizontally between different heights and things like that, right? So that's a great addition to already a game that is very, very strong level design wise, and with the possibilities that you can have and all that.
And how does level design relate to the way that you sort of develop yourself, get stronger? Do you specialize, or will all possibilities always be viable options?
I mean, it's not okay. So stealth and combat are always there, right? That's for sure. Like whenever you get into an area where there's NPCs or guards or civilians or whatever, if they're threats or not or whatever, it's up to you can just start shooting, or you can start stealthing around and try not to be discovered. So that's pretty much always there. The hacking is like it's not something that's always right in your face. It's not like you get into, I don't know, like a police station and you have the choice of going combat stealth or just purely hack your way through. It's not. It's the hacking thing is more subtle. Obviously, you find it in very specific places in computers, keypads, all that kind of stuff. But it's again very much part of the choices that you have, right? For example, if you find a hacking thing that's on the main path, it's usually going to be a low-level hacking because it's on the main path, and maybe someone hasn't upgraded his hacking all that much, right? Then the peripheral hacking, though, the ones that are like all these little extra secret things, you might be at the beginning of the game and you're going to find a level 5 hacking somewhere, right? It's going to be holy crap, right? This is pretty hardcore. Social is the same thing. It's not always there, but it's very often there, right? You can talk to people and find new ways around, maybe like a more peaceful way to go around obstacles. So this is very much what it is, and it's how you evolve through the game, through a level of Deus Ex, through the stories between those 4 pillars, and you can kind of oscillate between them, right? I mean, if you start an environment through combat, and at one point you're like, hey, you know what, I want to start stealthing. I mean, you can disable the alarms, wait for the guards to cool down, and then start stealthing again, or you can go back to combat, and however.
So you're never locked down in one. Okay.
Never locked down, and all the augmentations, every single augmentation is somehow related to one of these pillars, right? So you can kind of like specialize. Like you cannot finish a game with all the augs maxed up, right? Like maxed out. If you've been spending through all the augs, you're going to be kind of like a jack of all trades, kind of like somewhere in the middle or whatever. Like obviously, JF, the game director, will be a lot better at telling you these metrics. But you can't max them all out. But you can concentrate if you want and all that. Yeah.
You mentioned it a little bit, but I wanted to ask you about the outside of the combat and direct conflict. How does the environment look, and how is the social interaction going to work? Are you talking with a lot of NPCs and meeting a lot of interesting people and that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the social is a very important part of the Deus Ex, and it's a very important part, I think, even more so for the ways that we've been designing our Deus Ex games since Human Revolution. Like we have, like the social boss fights that we call, where it's really like this showdown, this like psychological showdown between you and a specific main story character, and we're really putting a lot of effort in that. That's really something that's super important to us. But obviously, then you have dozens and dozens and dozens of regular NPCs that are walking around. But again, it's a game where even the common NPC usually has something fairly interesting to tell you. There's almost no such thing as like, oh, what a beautiful day today type of thing, right? And then just repeats over. No, but it's fine. It's fine when you have that. But we try to always have a link to the world or the story somehow, even with the people that almost have nothing to tell you, and a lot of the people that you meet really have a story to tell you, or something that's related to a side quest and all that kind of stuff, right? We don't have a crowd system, right? It's not, there's no just people there for the sake of having a crowd, like everyone. So obviously it makes for a little less realism in how many people are in the streets, but they're all kind of very much part of the world. You understand what I mean? Yeah.
So, and a little bit back to the narrative here. Is there also multiple paths in the narrative? Is there choices you make as a player that have larger consequences down the road?
Yeah, there definitely are. We put even more efforts into that than we did in Human Revolution. Like you can have actions that you're going to start seeing repercussions in the world around you. Like you might start reading stuff in newspapers that have to do with what you did, or you might see stuff on TV, or you might see changes in the world that are based on certain of your social actions or just actions in general. There's again, this whole idea of approaching situations however you want with the different pillars is very much ingrained in that concept as well, and seeing what the outcome of that are. So you find this on the main path. You also find these kind of little variations based on what you do also in the side quests and all the extra stuff. And so it's these things are they take time to develop. They're expensive to do, whatever. If you really want to affect the world, whenever you do something, A, B, or C. But we've really tried to push it a lot more this time around.
And I really just wanted to ask one last question here, since I noticed that in your games you use a lot of, since you're the art director, you use a lot of yellow, orange color schemes and black. What are you trying to convey with that, other than it being cool?
The black and gold palette was very much Human Revolution's palette. It has taken a bit of a step back in Mankind Divided, and there's a reason for that. Like pretty much anything we do, there's always a reason. We very rarely do something just because we feel like it. The idea of the black and gold. So in Human Revolution, like I said, it's all about the golden age of transhumanism. You know, it's what we call the cyber renaissance. So we got very much inspired by the Renaissance, and the black and gold is very present in paintings from painters like Rembrandt or Vermeer. I mean, they're a little more like the Baroque era, but whenever you take a period as an inspiration, as an aesthetics inspiration, you always stretch it a little bit to have like a little wider canvas if you want. A good example of this is like the movie Gladiator, right? Ridley Scott said that era that it takes place in doesn't actually exist, in the sense that he took like pretty much the entire Roman Empire, inspirations for all the periods of the Roman Empire, and he mixed them all together, right? Which has never happened actually, right? So that's a little bit what I mean. Like even though we were inspired by the Renaissance, I stretch it a little to the Baroque. Anyway, all this to say that paintings from Vermeer, Rembrandt, if you look at them, they're very, it's the what we call chiaroscuros, right, in Italian, which means, light and dark, right? So you see like the really deep darks and the characters that's just like half in dark, half in light, and it's very, the ochre, the yellows, the gold are very much there. So by giving it that palette, it fit with our analogy of the Renaissance, and also the gold represented again the golden era, the sun, because we have the analogy with the Icarus myth, also like the skin tone and whatnot. Then the black part represented the mystery, the conspiracies, the dystopia, the cyberpunk and everything. So it was very much ingrained in all these meanings, and at the same time I was looking to have something that would make us look different from all the other games, have journalists talking and all that, get the flow going, and so that's what it was.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you tell us anything about when we're gonna be able to play it?
Of course, you're gonna be able to play the game in August 23rd, so in a few months, and it's gonna be out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and your favorite color, Game Boy Color, of course.
Cool. Thank you very much for talking with us.
How far out are we?
Coming up on it now. Not many spots I can set her down. You got a preference?
Get as close to the ground as you can. I'll take it from there.
Whatever you say, boss.